All right. Tonight's opener, the intro, was going to be a little depressing, so I'm not going to do it. What I'm going to do instead is tell you about tonight's episode. It's going to involve Sean Connery dating the mob. It's going to involve a werewolf Santa Claus. It might involve some nice guys finishing last. And it may have something to do with being the mayor of Milktown or Mother's Milk or whatever that is. And also a RoboCop documentary.
Let's go!
Crack open a cold box of wine or pour something cold on ice because it's the Binge-Watchers podcast.
This version of it cuts off the open a cold box of wine and pour something cold on ice. I think it goes right into wine. Like, am I whining about something on the podcast, or is it going into the drinking? Anyway.
Wine, open up a cold something or other.
Something. Yeah, you stumbled into a podcast. It's the Binge-Watchers podcast with yours truly, Johnny Spoiler. I only spoil the movies I love. I think most of the time that's how it unravels. And I'm joined as always by the Savage Scream Queen herself, Jordan Savage.
Mm-hmm.
We're here tonight to cover another crime-related movie. Let's talk about Mother Nature's crimes first for a second. Because that hurricane stuff actually hit Lake Havasu, knocked over the palm trees. It was a hurricane wake and quake. Jordan was there, actually. She was teasing me. She was texting me, making me jealous. She was at the river, which is my old stomping ground, and she was at Lake Havasu. They're like my hometown rivals. I think they had like purple uniforms. I can't remember if they were also an animal or like knights or something stupid. But I think about Lake Havasu. I think one about how the Piranha remake was filmed there and how the London Bridge is there. The original London Bridge, folks, that some eccentric, I don't know, millionaire or entrepreneur or something had them ship the bricks one by one because they were tearing it down and building a new bridge over there in London, and he wanted it. He got it. And now it's the tourist trap that brings everybody to Lake Havasu. Mm-hmm. That and the parties. MTV went there with their VJs during MTV VJ Summer Week or whatever they did with like them Pauly Shores and all the rest. They would go there from like the mid-90s to the early 2000s. And my dad got a lot of work. He was like a boat mechanic at the Lake Havasu resorts. There were many parties on houseboats. Trivia for Johnny, I may have even gotten to second base with a girl on a houseboat. And then it's Jordan's fault. She was jogging up all the memory lane stuff. Like, I remembered, like, there was a girl whose dad, like, either managed or was part owner in the small town theater. Like, now my town's exploded because of a casino. So they got, like, all this real estate development. You got people moving in, whatever, making it like a thing. But, like, I remember, like, back then it was like a two-seat, a two-screen theater. One of my first dates, we saw Hook, which is Robin Williams. He probably does the best Peter Pan there is. You got Julia Roberts as Tinkerbell.
Mm-hmm.
The other kid, Rufio, I just remember them singing his name throughout the movie. I can't remember the actor's name, but they go like, Rufio. He's like Peter Pan's lieutenant or whatever. And then, of course, Captain Hook himself is freaking Dustin Hoffman, Academy Award-winning Dustin Hoffman. And then Bob Hoskins plays Smee? Yeah. Who's like, Captain Hook's lieutenant.
Oh, yes, anyway, yes, the little one.
The cast is stacked, and it's the best thing you're going to get for Peter Pan.
Agreed.
In a live-action movie, probably. I don't think they'll ever get to that level again. And not just that, like I used to go Lake Havasu to their movie theater, saw Mortal Kombat on a birthday. FYI, folks, I have problems with birthdays like I have problems with holidays. Not to fully lock this episode down on a memory lane. Again, Jordan is the one who unzipped all this. It's her fault. Yeah, but seeing the original Mortal Kombat with some friends and some gals, it was good. And, but Jordan showing up during the storm, maybe not that fun. I don't know.
No,
but,
yeah, definitely had a better time going down memory lane with you than I did on my trip this time. But, yeah, Mother Nature.
Anyway, Moving on. Home video headlines. Actually, we skewed it this week, folks, because we're doing crime movies for the month, calling it our heat wave of crime movies. So actually, the trivia and the movie news that I pulled together isn't really about new releases. It's about like problems that they had on movie sets. Like, for instance, some props disappeared from the set of the new, they're doing like a part 2 to Beetlejuice. So Beetlejuice 2, there's a replica made of like, there's that one stepmom character that has a big claw statue thing.
She gets like stuck by it.
Statue, yeah. Like, so one in Vermont, one of these statue props was taken off the set. I mean, it's got to be like a crazy Beetlejuice fan, I imagine, you know? Like, they want to, your only opportunity to get a prop, you're going to go take it from the film set. I don't know.
Film heist. Interesting.
Yeah, film heist in Vermont on the set of the new Beetlejuice. Ocean's 12. If you remember, there was a series of heist movies with Matt Damon, Brad Pitt, George Clooney. So Ocean's 12 was like part 2 or 3. I don't know where they started. Ocean's 10, Ocean's 11, and then 12, 13. I don't know how many there are. But there was a real missing diamond during the movie promotion because they were like, oh, let's get this Formula One race car. Let's get the diamond somehow mounted to the car and have it like displayed during a race or something. But then the car crashed and the diamond disappeared and it's worth like $300K or whatever.
Yeah, I was reading that there was like 2 different vehicles. It was for the same team, like Jaguar, and they were these massive diamonds.
How do you lose 2 diamonds? That seems like a setup in itself.
Or maybe only, I don't, but it's like, that just doesn't, I don't know how that computes. It's like to put a diamond on a car that goes that fast. Like, and you know, you mentioned that there was like an accident maybe or something, but I'm like,
yeah, so you don't know if it's like, did they set the accident up and it's a real heist during a heist movie promotion? We don't know. All we know is the diamond's missing.
I think like the lowest probabilities that the diamond's gonna make it. Like, how does that happen? So
yeah, after a Formula One race, the diamond, we don't know. We don't know, boss. We don't know. Did you hear about the tainted clam chowder on the set of Titanic? So this is the cast and crew got spiked soup, and so they were tripping balls for like 24 hours or something, including James Cameron, the director, stars Bill Paxton and Leonardo DiCaprio. The crew maintains that a disgruntled caterer did it. The caterer maintains that the cast and crew were having a party that got out of control and, you know, the drugs got mixed into the food or whatever.
Yeah. When you said tainted, my immediate thought was like, just bad clam chowder. So just like, I was thinking everybody had like food poisoning.
Like food poisoning breaks, like food poisoning breakout instead of like actually
LSD trips or
poisoning.
something.
Yeah, LSD, exactly. Like just tripping. There's a producer named Joseph Proctor who did a movie called Grizzly 2, which I should say is a killer bear movie that like came out 30 years later. They salvaged a work cut of the movie. But anyway, this producer was cutting bad checks while trying to make that movie happen. He claimed to be in partnership with the comedian Jerry Lewis to get other deals financed, which they're saying question mark may not be true. And then he had a scheme with Michigan City, Indiana, which is like, it's always weird to me when there's a city named after another state in another state, right? Like Kansas City, Missouri instead of Kansas City, Kansas. But this is Michigan City, Indiana. And this guy, Joe Proctor, was scamming them, saying he had some method to turn their garbage into oil. I don't know if it's like a recycling scam, if it's some kind of trash scam. I don't have the full details, but my imagination was running wild going like, we need the Joe Proctor movie just to have a movie about a guy that's trying to scam the city while also writing bad checks for a killer bear movie.
I'd watch it. I would watch it. Yeah.
You know what I also would watch? And again, this is being a cautionary tale myself. And I'm not trying to slip into depression on a podcast, folks. It's not for you. But Too Little Too Late, this week's edition of that game I'm playing with my life, is there's a Werewolf Santa Claus movie come out. And believe it or not, I had a similar thing with Full Moon Christmas, where the Santa character gets turned into a werewolf and then takes out the naughty list members by being the werewolf. We're going to get this Werewolf Santa Claus movie. I don't know where it's going to go. We're not sure. It's coming out in September. We'll see if it's good or if it's trash. We'll find out. Sean Connery was on the set of a movie where he was dating the actress, and then like her mafia boyfriend shows up, pulls a knife on Sean Connery. Sean Connery beats him up. Then the guy gets like deported from the country they're shooting the movie and gets sent back to America or whatever. And then the actress's daughter stabs him to death like 3 months later.
That seems like something I would watch on like one of my documentaries.
Why is that not like a movie within a movie, Lifetime, or like some kind of Paramount Plus miniseries? They just did one about The Godfather. Like, why don't they do like the behind the scenes of the Sean Connery movie about like who is this guy and like why is the actress's daughter? I don't know what age she was, but I'm like, but there's got to be like a love quadruple thing happening, triangle thing. Like, there's something going on here.
It's a parallelogram.
Like, yeah. Anyway, Anyway, there's more to that story. That's it for the headlines. I just wanted to tie in some crime stuff that happened on movie sets. Tonight's movie. Do nice guys finish last? We'll find out in a minute. It's the Nice Guys. It's 1970s Los Angeles. We got a mismatched pair of private eyes who are investigating a missing girl, and it ties in with the death of a porn star. You got Russell Crowe as Healy, the heavyweight, and then you got not like heavyweight boxer, but like the muscle in the duo. And then Ryan Gosling as the bumbling, thinking, drunk detective whose name is March. And it's like classic foibles. I'm Jordan. Do you have the savage stats?
Got the stats. Yes, I do. So this movie got 9 awards and 34 nominations, including the nomination for Best Buddy Comedy from AARP's Grown Up Movie Awards. And it won Best Comedy at IGN Summer Movie Awards in 2016. Obviously, Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling, who we all know and love, were both child actors that actually dropped out of high school and didn't get their diploma so that they could pursue their careers in acting and never had any formal training. This project was initially proposed as a TV series, and then it was retooled as a film after the plot seemed to not really go anywhere, which is funny because I did have the thought while watching this movie that I would watch these two in like an actual full series. That it should be a show, or I like would continue to watch like if it was repurposed as one. So it's really interesting to hear that it was actually intentionally supposed to be one.
See, and I like the characters, so I was like, it's not even the movie. Like when they're following the clues or whatever, it feels plot related, but there is a portion of the movie where you're just kind of like, it hangs on the characters and what they're saying and their attitudes. So I can understand the opinion of like somebody saying at the network or something like, hey, where's this movie going?
Right.
But I like it. So
yeah, totally. Absolutely. And then we have, when promoting his program, The Loudest Voice on the Howard Stern Show, Russell Crowe said this was one of 2 films where he wished there was a sequel to because he liked playing the character so much. That other film was L.A. Confidential. And then
he's like a disgraced detective in that movie. Russell Crowe's character. It's a much darker movie, but it's really good. But it's more of a drama. It doesn't have any like comedy bits and mixed in or
Yeah. And then during March's open monologue about the downturn of society, a porno theater in the background is playing Bang Bang Kiss Kiss, a play on Shane Black's earlier film Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is like the premise of the movie is a thief that's mistaken for an actor and trained to be a private eye, played by Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer, one of Val's best roles in recent years before just health declining.
So thinking about Val Kilmer, it really sucks like what he's dealing with, but he's still like an artist. He does paintings. He wrote a book. He did like the autobiography thing. I think he might be involved in music. I'm not sure. But then like his son helped narrate his voice and a robot like AI thing filled in for him as they recorded like part of his autobiography for the movie Val, which is on Prime. If you're a Val Kilmer fan, watch the movie about his life. It's really insightful and fascinating, and you learn more about like Val Kilmer, the person, as opposed to just this iconic, epic film star who played Batman. I think he's like the forgotten Batman, but he played Batman. Also was Mad Mardigan and Willow. He's one of my favorite actors. And also watch Kiss Bang Bang if you want to see like something that leads up to like right before he deals with his cancer and his health complications take him out of the limelight. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is a pretty good entry.
And then I'll need some backup, John, with some of these details here. But for my last Savage stat, we got Shane Black. He played a role in Predator, famous for writing Lethal Weapon, Last Action Hero, The Last Boy Scout, and co-wrote The Monster Squad with Fred Dekker. He also wrote and directed The Predator 2018, co-written by Fred Dekker, and one of the OG Predator scribes, Jim Thomas, which is one of the two Thomas brothers. We got Jim and John Thomas, who wrote the OG Predator.
Man, Last Action Hero was a standout to me. Like, everybody loves Lethal Weapon. Shane Black is a prolific writer. He writes a lot, but he's also a really good screenwriter. Won't say he's the best because I don't want to be credited as saying it's Johnny's favorite screenwriter. I'm not going to say that. Not going to do that. I mean, I'm only going to tease out through all these episodes who I like and who I don't like. And if you're really paying attention, you'll figure it out. But Last Action Hero is great because Arnold Schwarzenegger plays both Arnold and his character Jack Slater in Last Action Hero. So it's basically, the plot is a kid gets a magic ticket, movie ticket that has some kind of Harry Houdini magic on it or something. So he gets zipped off into a Jack Slater movie, and then Jack Slater and the boy go back to reality, encounter Arnold, and they fight the villain at like a Arnold movie premiere or whatever. So it wasn't popular when it came out. I think it's too much of a parody, but if there's like a people like this might have been like not Gen Xers, but the generation before, something like we're talking like 50s or something, like we're talking like maybe our parents, maybe, I don't know, or 60s, where they used to have bags of marbles so they would shoot marbles. But the millennial version of that is like these hidden gems of movies that are really nostalgic. So like the emotional marble bag is Last Action Hero is one of the movies. Yeah, it's one of the movies in this little bag of hidden gems, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good metaphor or not. I tried.
I liked it.
Let's see. Or is it a simile? Because did I say like a bag of marbles? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Messages. So we'll be right back with our favorite bits after these messages. The first one up is, I think it's Stars. Yeah, try Stars. What is Stars? It's like a movie streamer, man. They got stuff on there like Minx. Season 2 just started. I actually like it. I've only seen the first episode, but I watched obviously the first season, which got brought over by another network. But it's good for guys and gals and everything in between to watch this show. We have an affiliate code, so they're one of our affiliates. You can grab the link in the show notes, and you can stream Stars. What they're doing right now currently is like $3 a month for 3 months to watch all their movies and TV shows, including the latest Spider-Man, where him and that wizard Doctor Strange fight his villains from the other movies, and they bring in all the other Spider-Man, like Tobey Maguire. And who's the other one?
I forget his name.
Andrew somebody.
I can picture his
I don't
face.
know. He's like the forgotten Spider-Man. I'm sorry, dude. Don't cry. Like, he's a great actor, but his Spider-Man's too intense for me. But anyway, moving on. Also, Screambox has aired their original 4-part docuseries RoboDoc, the creation of RoboCop. Actually, it's going to start on the 29th of August. But anyway, they're doing like 4-hour-long episodes all the way through September 19th on Screambox. And it's about the creation of RoboCop, and it has insights from the stars like Peter Weller and Nancy Allen. They talk to the writers and the producers and the special effects guys. And it's going to basically be like an in-depth look at the making and impact of the 87 dystopian action classic. I love RoboCop. RoboCop is one of my favorite films of all time. Maybe I'm a little like
biased a little bit,
or just like spoiled because I've seen the movies and I love them so much, and that like I didn't need another documentary, and I have the documentary on the special edition DVDs, and it's enough. So I'm like, but for new fans, this might be good. And also, I think you had more positive things to say about it than I did. I think. You want to share some?
You want me to do it now? I could do it now.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me what you thought of the first part of the RoboDoc.
First of all, we haven't had a bad thing from Screambox, so I will take that.
That's true. They're a killer channel. That's for sure.
Killer channel. So definitely go check it out. I love watching behind the scenes stuff. I find it really fascinating, just like the overall process. And this is incredibly fast paced. Like it's just like.
Which is funny because my filter is like skewed because I thought it was more technical and a little boring. But she's
and technicality, like I could totally see that, right? Like I'm someone who doesn't really understand a lot of the like nuances and stuff, but I can keep up. And I felt that like it really was fast moving. They're just like stringing along the details really quickly. Like I feel like sometimes especially when you're looking at behind the scenes.
So do you think younger viewers, they're going to discover RoboCop and they're going to love it?
I think so, absolutely. And this was like fascinating, fast-paced. And then they did talk a little bit about Orion, which we had talked about on the podcast a couple weeks
Orion
back.
Pictures, baby.
Yeah, and we had talked about a really long list of incredible movies that come from Orion Pictures. And
For instance, RoboCop.
RoboCop. But it was like kind of one of the cool things is that they're like, they were trying to figure out where they could essentially make the movie, and they were able to take it to Orion because it truly is the place where you can go to make the movies by the way that you want to make them. So I found that really fascinating. So yeah, good little nuggets in there for sure. So
speaking of good nuggets, if you want to discover a great book on Amazon, we're talking about Bricklayer, a funny foul-mouthed fairy tale of bizarro fiction. Here's a quote. Banny was funny once I got into the flow of the story. I couldn't stop reading. What is it about? This is what it's about. Banny the Bricklayer accidentally descends into the underworld and then must go on a haphazard quest to obtain magic milk from a cursed cow in order to save his son. Banny's up against a hellish army of insectoid mutants, fallen gods, a dangerously ambitious cricket, and his own ego. Here's what some of the readers are saying. This is a funny book with dark humor and great dialogue. I'm a huge fan of Tom Robbins, and this has that same quirky feel to it. It's a fun read that at moments lands poetic. I love the use of symbolism, like the fact that the stairway has 12 steps, which is comical given Banny's love of the sauce. Banny is absolutely a character you wonder if redemption is possible, which makes what motivates his humanity even sweeter. If you like dream-quality John Waters oddity or David Cronenberg movies like Naked Lunch, you're going to love the adventures that you should dive into, and it will deliver. The Bricklayer is an absolute hoot to read. It's available on Amazon. If you have Amazon Kindle, then it's free to read. Click over to our Amazon link and check out Bricklayer. Nice. Where are we? Back to the podcast already in progress with favorite bits from the nice guys. You're up, Jordan. Whoa, hold on. You're muted. Are you back? Wait.
Oh. Hey, I was clicking. You were clicking. I didn't.
Who has the power of the microphone
now? We just went into a mute button standoff for those who can't see us and can only listen. But the bits, it's my favorite part of the whole podcast. Okay.
Wow, so disregard everything that came before and after and just stick to the bits.
Well, the bits is when you talk about your favorite parts. So,
yeah, that's true. Go for it.
So, I mean, we talked a lot about the personalities of the two, private investigators. I would say that the way that they meet, I think, unfolds really funny. Starting off with how Healy goes essentially to March's house. And the reason why he's there is because he is hired on by the character Amelia, the girl named Amelia, to track down people who are essentially looking for her. And it's all twisted into like her doing a film with, one of the porn stars. And it's essentially this big message they're trying to convey. But she's essentially trying to shake people off that have been following her. She gives Healy March's address, and Healy goes to March's house, and he essentially is trying to frighten, intimidate, right? And so, he's trying to unravel the story of why he's actually tailing her in the first place. And March is essentially giving away the information willingly. And it's just because he's kind of, like you said, he's this bumble guy.
Well, yeah. So Ryan Gosling March is tied into investigating the disappearance or murder of a porn star who was Amelia's friend or acquaintance. And that's why he's looking for Amelia to get more clues to solve his case. But then meanwhile, as you said, Healy frequently gets paid to bully people in Amelia's life that she doesn't like. But he also has a soft spot for kids, and he encounters March's daughter outside the house. And I think Healy might have done more damage to March if he hadn't encountered the kid. It's possible. You know what I mean?
Well, and he catches her on the way out, though, doesn't he?
What does he do? Because it's kind of funny, but still violent. What happens?
Oh, it's so funny because, they're kind of going at it, and it's just funny how it unfolds. Essentially, March is saying that he's going to kind of stop, and then just, does another inch, and Healy ends up just completely breaking his arm. And so then later in the movie, it's funny because they meet each other again to essentially start working on the case together. March doesn't know it yet, but he's in the bathroom stall of a bowling alley, and Healy comes up to him, and March is caught completely off guard, but he's got his gun. He's on the toilet.
Literally with his pants down.
Literally with his pants down around his ankles, trying to read. And it's just funny to watch him fumble with his book, and he's dropping his cigarette in his chonies, and he still has his undies around his ankles. And it's just kind of a funny scene. So
yeah, he's awkward and compromised, but he's trying to prove that he's not caught off guard again, but he actually is caught off guard again anyway. And then Jordan said, banter ensues,
Yeah, really solidifies their relationship, I think, and just their kind of roles together in their partnership. But what about you? What's your favorite?
Well, there's a lot of great dialogue, and it plays out so fast. And the thing is, when I'm watching the movie, I'm kind of captivated by it, so I didn't catch all the stuff I wanted to write down, but I did happen to write down some of the lines that I like, which stands out as a favorite bit. So there's an accident at a Hollywood party, and March fumbles again, but then finds another clue, which is a dead body of a porn producer tied into Amelia and the missing porn star. And then I think we would say Healy's interrogating. Well, he's kind of asking March what's going on now, and March is he's like, I was in the pool. You were in the pool? Yeah. Why? I had to question the mermaids. And I thought, what a good sequence. It sounds simple. Takes a good writer to make it sound so simple or so casual that the actors can deliver it in such a way. And so, again, I give credit to Shane Black for writing it. But anyway, that's one of my favorite bits. We should bring up the party again.
The party itself.
Yeah, because I think we both like the party at the porn star's house or the porn producer's house. Not that we're condoning porn or porn producers or porn stars. However, imagine yourself in a Hollywood Hills palace.
You're in the 70s.
Crazy Art Deco architecture and lights and the pool and the
live
and the stones.
Live entertainment, live, I guess, art installations, women everywhere. It just looks like a really fun place to go and be drinking and partying.
We're talking a while ago about Lake Havasu, and you jogged my memory about Memory Lane, and I thought it would be cool to live on a houseboat forever. Another wild dream would be to have the porn producer's house in the Hollywood Hills, or I don't know. It's probably not appropriate to say I thought I'd be 30 and I'd go to Japan and I'd be a sumo wrestler and I'd eat noodles. You know what I mean? And just have a bunch of Japanese girlfriends instead of living in a porn producer's house. Not saying that I want to be a porn producer or hang out with porn stars. I don't want to give too much away about my personal life or the people I associate with. We'll just keep it to a fantasy on this show, just to say the house is groovy, man, and you want to live in a house like that.
Fantastical is what that
fantastical is a good word.
It was a fantastical party. So,
okay. So if we're going to rate the movie, we usually say binge now, binge later, or binge never, which means get to it right away, move it to the top of your list, eventually get to it, or never get to it because you can't get your life back. You can't get the 2 hours back or the time you wasted on the movie. Where do you find yourself, Jordan?
Binge now. It was fun to watch. Lots of explosions, things blowing up, good plot. And very timeless because it takes place in the 70s. It didn't feel like it was a movie that was made almost 7 years ago.
Yeah, it has a lot of references to 70s and 80s TV shows and movies. It's pretty fascinating. I guess the audience doesn't really have to guess, and we're not really arguing that it's a good movie. We're both kind of on the same page. I was it when it's funny on the show when we have conflict, one of us likes it, one of us doesn't like it. But yeah, it's a binge now for me too. I just think if you like Shane Black movies, if you've already seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, you want another detective movie, or if you're a fan of either Russell Crowe or Ryan Gosling, I should probably say it's actually my favorite Ryan Gosling movie, except for Crazy Stupid Love, or he plays this guy named Jordan, or is his name Jordan in that movie? It might be. I think his name is Jordan Bennett, or something like that in The Big Short, where he plays a banker when they're like betting against the Banks family or whatever, and the housing market crashing in that movie. He plays a banker who's kind of like telling you the story. He's good in that.
I would say I really like this movie because of that reason too. Like Ryan Gosling doesn't really play like just the hot dude. Like he's playing this drunk, disheveled father that is obviously really brilliant, but doesn't know how to
real. He's in the throes of alcoholism. They write in things that like alcoholics really do. Like his underage daughter is driving his car in several scenes because he's too blotchko, and that's like that's some real life stuff there. Like IRL, boys and girls.
Like, when he's first introduced into the movie, he's fully clothed in the bathtub. Like it really is.
Oh, and he wakes up there without he doesn't know how he got there.
No, not at all, because he's been schnockered. So
I almost want to share a drinking story where I woke up in a situation where I didn't know how I got there.
I used to wake up in the bathtub all the time.
I drank an appropriate amount of drinks at a party. Went to a McDonald's with my friend and he dropped me off. I had a chicken sandwich, okay? I used to have a sensitivity to tomatoes. I don't know why. I woke up with red spots all over my face.
From the tomato?
And weird things on my tongue and I thought it was STD town.
That is
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got it.
It was a wild party. Stuff was happening. They spiked my drinks. Like, what's the name of the date rape drug?
Well, I mean, other than it's I don't know. PCP?
Kids,
PCP.
You will try to impress your friends. You will try to impress strangers. You will do things at parties you probably shouldn't do. This will be your PSA. I wasn't going to go here, but for the sake of the entertaining everybody, I'm just going to. So, drink this. Okay. Drink this. Okay. Drink this. Okay. You don't know what's in it. And then you have missing time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, at the beginning of the movie, what she's talking about is he wakes in a bathtub, doesn't know how he got there. I woke up from a party, didn't realize I was having an allergic reaction of all things. Thought I caught something.
That's so funny. It's just you ate a tomato.
And you take a lot of chances in your 20s because you still feel immortal. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully my kids don't listen to this. It's totally BS, guys.
Yeah, I don't have kids, but I've definitely woken up in the bathtub with like an inch of water left and a big freezing cold in my back hurting so bad. So
I have a bad habit, like I don't want to get dark, but Whitney Houston died in the bathtub, and I think her daughter did too. And like, I have a bad habit of like, I've fallen asleep in the bathtub actually
all the time. It's just too cozy and comfortable, and I'm like, no, I'm fine. And then I'll have people like trying to pull me out, and I'm like, leave me alone. Don't wake me up. Anywho,
it's all make believe, folks. Okay.
Yep.
Fan service. Okay, so this is comments from the fans. Shell86 wants to know why I called myself the mayor of Milktown. Here we go. I'm digging a bigger hole for myself on tonight's episode.
You didn't do it. Yeah.
Like 6 months ago, I called myself the mayor of Milktown in reference to, I think, Mad Max Fury Road, where the villain has like 12 wives and he's milking them. Like they're still, I don't know. They have childbearing years. Some of them have children. Some of them are just like wet nurses, but they drink the milk and think it gives them strength because there's not a lot of resources or food. They're all malnourished. But if you're doing well, you get to drink some of the mother's milk. And I thought, wow, why don't we just have a mother's milk market where you can just buy mother's milk? Because, like, first of all, I mean, there's a growing, I mean, I don't want to get political, but there's a growing group of people that go like, why are we drinking the milk of other animals?
Mm-hmm.
We can produce our own milk. Why are we not just drinking our own milk? Mm-hmm. However, you'd have to have several lactating women agree to contracts, farm to table scenarios. It would be, I mean, there's a lot of red tape involved in this. So it might just be for science fiction movies, but yeah.
There's a black market out there for that. I guarantee there's some ultra runners.
We've got mother's milk taken care of.
Yeah, there's probably some ultra marathon runners who are trying to get some mother's milk, if you will. You know?
And I don't want to call it a fetish, and I'm not going to put that out there.
I just said
the word fetish, but I would buy mother's milk. There's like an app. We're ordering the subscription of the mother's milk this week. Cool. It'll be here on Thursday. You know, like
you just put your bottles out every morning, you know, the empty ones, and Like, isn't that
Mama's going to come by and fill them up?
Yeah, fill up the bottles.
Holy crap.
That's why.
Where are we? Staff picks. Well, we already told you about Screenbox's RoboCop documentary. Usually we tell you about other things that we've watched this week, but we were kind of featuring the RoboDoc, and Jordan gave it high praise earlier. So there you go. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is kind of fun. Every once in a while on the show, we play movie roulette, where I pitch Jordan. It's like a blind taste test, like Coke or Pepsi. We don't know what the cup has. She doesn't know what these movies are. And I pitch her one of this or that or whatever for next week's movie of the week. What are we going to watch? And she has to pick it from the descriptions. Okay, here's number one. We only have 48 hours to find the snitch or we lose the girl and the money. Option 2, we can try to pull off this heist, but the town is flooding. Selection number 3, come hell or high water, no Texas good old boys or Jeff Bridges is going to stop these brothers who love their mama. Movie selection number 4, this old man keeps robbing banks. Option number 5, why do we care so much about the dead presidents? Question milk. Question milk?
Question milk.
I got milk on the brain. I got milk on the mind. I don't know what to say. I'm just thinking about milk. Question mark after the word dead presidents. Option number 6, inside job, lock the truck. Number 7, he didn't kill him because of a mistaken identity, and that one's a comedy. Most of these crime movies are pretty serious, and our audience is like, what's going on with all these crime movies? A lot of them have serious tone.
Would you tell me number 2 and number 3? Because it sounded like that there was water in one, and it sounded like one.
Yeah. Now you're thinking about milk, and it's diluting your choices.
I got my mind on my milk and my milk on my mind. I don't know.
Okay, number 2. We can try to pull off the heist, but the town is flooding.
Okay.
Number 3, come hell or high water, no Texas good old boys or Jeff Bridges is going to stop these brothers who love their mama.
And Jeff Bridges is one of the brothers?
No, but he's in the movie.
Dang it. Well, I want to do number 3. Let's go. I like Jeff Bridges.
I actually put the title of the movie in the description. It's called Hell or High Water. It's got Chris Pine and Ben Foster.
See, I thought that's why it was one title, was like the flooding and then hell or high water, because high water and flooding. But
that's called Hard Rain. Number 2 is Hard Rain with Morgan Freeman and Christian Slater, and that's also a good movie.
Oh man, I do love Christian Slater.
Yeah,
it's a good thing that you don't put the actors in all of them, because I'd be a little biased.
Yeah, but I guess I kind of cheated or stacked the deck because by putting Bridges in there and also maybe the title, I was like, I'm kind of skewing it one way or the other. That was actually maybe going to be on the playlist, but the one that was scheduled was The Old Man and the Gun, which is a movie with Robert Redford, which is really good, and Sissy Spacek. However, Jordan has selected Hell or High Water. That's what we're doing next week. But to be honest, what's really on my mind is Werewolf Santa Claus. I feel
betrayed again.
I mean,
someone is stealing your brainwaves.
I didn't want to take the episode there in the beginning because it could have been, woe is me, Johnny cries in his drink all night, and that's the podcast. And it wasn't trying to do that. Comes to Life movie, and then the Ted movies come out. I had, what other thing did I have? Well, obviously, I had a Christmas movie where the Santa Claus becomes a werewolf, just like this werewolf movie that's coming out. So every once in a while, I see a movie that's too close to some of the movies I was writing or ideas that I had in treatment, and I'm like, this is like, although I appreciate that they're finally making movies the way I want to see them, because my mom can tell you when I was a kid, I was like, why don't they make movies like I want? And she's like, grow up and make those movies. Now I feel threatened that like other people are stumbling into the ideas that I had, and I'm like, but I'm not cashing in on them. We got a bigger problem, Mom. You know what I mean? Like, not just they're not making movies like I want.
No, they are.
Other people are. They are making my movies now, and I'm not the one making them. That's the bigger problem. That's what the issue. Yeah. However, what do you call a werewolf like elf? Because if Santa Claus, like, well, and also, where's that going to go? Does Santa Claus attack the people on the naughty list? Does he bring it back to the elves?
Well, and he could be like Santa Claus, you know, like he's got literally claws.
Literally the claws. Yeah.
Just saying.
But what do you call if an elf gets infected? What do you call the elf?
I don't know. I mean, and he has to, right? What else is he snacking on full moons up at the North Pole?
That's true.
What would you call them?
Were-elves? Werelings? Were-elflings?
Were-elflings.
Welfs on a shelf? I don't know.
I need a welf on the shelf. A werewolf. I'm here for it.